Today's video is about the funny story behind one of the most popular videos on my channel. For now, suffice it to say that things aren't always what they seem. Stick around and I'll tell you 3 mistakes I made and 3 things that I learned from my mistakes. It looks like a calm, relaxed day. And it is at the moment, but it wasn't a few minutes ago. My name is Cliff Fawcett, and this channel is all about encouraging you to get out there and have some fun on the water. I do how-to videos, quick tip videos, and some bite-sized adventures where you could just sit back, relax, and imagine you're on the water with me. Back in May, I went out for a paddle in my solo canoe. It was a nice day, and I decided to bring my dog along. I got to the river, unloaded the boat, he jumped in, and I immediately realized that having a 50-pound dog was going to be a little complicated in my solo canoe. See, before, when I'd had him out, I'd had him in the cockpit of my Old Town Loon, which is pretty confined. I've had him in the center of our bigger canoe, which, I mean, you know, 50 pounds plus 2 adults and big canoe, not as much of a deal. But now it was all of a sudden very different. So I realized it within like 20 feet, and I was like, you know what, I probably should just go back. Well, there was a guy that I knew at the put in, and I just, honestly, I was just too proud to admit my mistake. And so I just paddled away. So I'm paddling and I'm like making sure he's sitting and not moving, and trying to figure out like, what the heck am I gonna do? So I thought, I know, I'll call my wife. So I call my wife and I'm like, hey, are you busy right now? Would you mind coming and meeting me? There's a spot where I paddle where the road kind of comes pretty close to the river. So I thought if my wife could meet me there, kind of pass them off to her, and then I'd be on my own. Well, I tell her to go to where the power lines are, and as you can see from the map, it's not as close as I thought. So she's on the phone, she's there, and I said, hey, holler out to me. So she hollers out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's a lot farther away than I thought. Now, if you see the map, she's about 400 feet away, which is pretty far, considering that the riverbank looked like this, which, you know, it's like a jungle. So anyway, she's shouting, and the dog hears her, and he takes off like a shot, jumps out of the canoe, runs into the brush. I can't see him anymore. So I'm kind of freaking out, and I'm like, keep yelling. So my wife's like, hey, cop, scout, scout. So the dog is amazing. I mean, she said the weeds were over her head. She's 5'4", so the weeds were like 6 feet tall. And I'm not kidding you, within a minute, he was there, and he was with her. And so she put him in the car, and we hung up. And so I started paddling, and I was like, I have my cameras with me, and I was like, you know, I was gonna film, but like, I really don't feel like it right now. But I'm like, well, I'll see what I can do. So I film, and I kind of thought it was gonna be like the story of what I just told you, but when I got home and I looked at the footage, I thought, you know what, this is just, I mean, it could be just a relaxing video, put some nice music to it, which I did. And I posted it, and I had a lot of comments, and people were like, oh, so relaxing and so calm. And I'm like, you know, looks can be deceiving, because that is not at all what I was feeling. 3 mistakes I made. Number 1, I let pride get the best of me. I was so concerned about looking cool in front of my friend that I didn't go back, and I knew I should have. Second of all, instead of calmly assessing the situation, which wasn't all that dangerous, I let my fears get the best of me, and I panicked. And when I panicked, I stopped thinking rationally. And thirdly, I dragged somebody else into my sad situation. I shouldn't have called my wife. I shouldn't have bothered her. And it ended up being a big fiasco. But live and learn. So the 3 things that I learned, number one is to think ahead when you're trying something new. This is the first time I've taken the dog in my solo canoe, and I should have thought ahead about it. Maybe brought a leash so I could hold him close to me, or gone on a day when it wasn't as chilly. Second of all, when I'm in an uncomfortable situation, instead of panicking and catastrophizing, which I tend to do, I should have just taken time to realistically think about what could go wrong, and then try to keep myself calm. Thirdly, I learned this, and now you know too, that YouTube videos aren't always what they seem. Peace out.